Hello everyone. Today I am doing something different and starting a new series. In this series, I am going to try and get to Division 20 in UFC 5, ranked MMA, before UFC 6 releases, which is just 12 days away. My peak rank in UFC 5 is Division 17. But that was all day way back when it came out, and I wasn't even on PlayStation then. I've only just started playing the game again in anticipation for UFC 6. So, let's hope my skill hasn't completely disappeared. Here are my ranked stats for my PSN account. As you can see, the ranked stats are empty. I have only got 4 days left of the season, so without wasting any more time, let's get into the first fight. The first division I'm in is bantamweight. I personally like to use Sandhagen whenever I'm in this weight class, as he feels very well-rounded. I also love to kick at range, so he's perfect for me. Off to a good start, with the immediate taunting and no glove touch. One thing which you'll notice a lot is my defense is not great. I get caught with punches that shouldn't land, and it almost gets me knocked out several times in this video. There we have the first knockdown. What you might notice I do a lot is I always block low at the wrong times. It's such a bad habit that I can't seem to fix. Another thing I tend to do a lot is just stand and trade. It's also a bad habit, but it seems to work out half the time, so why stop? This is a very strange way to play Sean, but here my opponent gets cut, which I didn't even notice. He seems very willing to stand in the pocket and box, which I don't quite understand, since he gets dropped a second time. What you might notice is, I go to the body a lot with my strikes. I feel like a lot of people headhunt. But over the fight, those body strikes really drain your opponent's stamina. I start hitting air, and then he lands a head kick, which does nothing to me. Here he sidesteps my strike, and even manages to score a knockdown from it. This is what I mean about my poor defense. I honestly thought for a second he might start grappling with me, but he backs away. He still seems adamant on boxing in the pocket, which I'm happy to oblige with. We get another rock, but still don't get the finish, unfortunately. I push him to the cage just to get some distance and do some body damage. I then just start throwing. For every one punch he lands, I land two. I try to add a delay between my combos to try and intercept them when they throw a strike back. I don't know why, but my opponent just starts emptying the tank, unloading hook after hook. I manage to take almost no damage and they lose a lot of stamina. It's only the first round yet. He has almost used a third of stamina. Having good stamina management is such a useful skill to have in this game. You might be losing every round, but if they gas out badly, then it's almost a free win. I get another rock, and that cut is getting worse. Both his body and head health are low, so the KO is imminent. I get rocked again, but I get another knockdown myself. I then get another knockdown. I just have to find the finish now. As I'm getting closer to the finish, the doc steps in. Could we get a doctor stoppage in our first match? The cut isn't even that bad, so it's not going to be stopped quite yet. I try and touch gloves again, but get another point instead. We then get another rock. I start looking for a highlight reel, which costs me this round. Another rock to the head, and then a body rock. Just throw in the towel. I dive on him to finish it, but the bell rings, temporarily saving him. I once again go for the glove touch, and they yet again taunt me. My poor defense gets exposed again as I get rocked. I then somehow get dropped. How am I this bad? I get up and they taunt again. Despite all the advantages I have, they can still win this. I get a body rock. I then get a rock and a knockdown. Every strike I land rocks him. You're not gonna believe it, but I get dropped again. My defense is so embarrassing. I manage to slip a strike and get on top. I can't risk getting knocked out. So I'm finishing this on the ground. I rarely go for submissions, but I managed to get one here, which almost wipes his entire bar. He tries to stand, and that is not gonna happen. He has no stamina, and I'm in full mount. Time to end the fight. He manages to survive, but not for long. If I somehow lose this, I will uninstall. I start elbowing over and over, and the fight is over. For my first fight, I showed a lot of flaws which I need to fix if I want to get to Division 20. The next fight is in a division I never use, so I just picked the champ. I don't really like the female weight classes, so I just wanted the fight over quickly. I know Amanda has good striking stats, so I didn't really want to strike in the pocket, like my last match. They rock my body, so I panic shoot a takedown, and I manage to get it. My ground game is okay, so I block their transitions. Right now I'm just letting them drain their stamina, so I can move to a more dominant position. I go for the submission, but fail to defend the transition. They then decide to stand up, which I don't blame them. Now I have shot a takedown. It makes them a bit more hesitant in the stand-up, which allows me to have more success in the striking. I start having success in the striking, winning most of the exchanges. They keep landing strikes to my body, which I don't like at all. I start defending the body kicks, and you will notice how I stop moving when I throw my strikes. It makes them faster and does more damage compared to if you were moving and striking. I start out striking them and manage to get a rock. Now that I have shown them my striking, I decide to go back to the takedown and get it successfully. I defend the first transition and go straight to crucifix to deal some nasty damage. They manage to get out, but I start throwing elbows, which then leads to the fight being stopped. That match was definitely a lot better than the first. I was in no danger at all, currently 2, and oh, let's stay undefeated. Unfortunately, another fight in the women's weight class. Let's try and make this one quick. Out of everyone they could pick to strike, as they chose Juliana Pena, very strange, but I won't complain. I can already tell this won't be a long one. I get a rock, but don't manage to get a knockdown. I shoot a takedown, which I get successfully, and I land inside control, in the same position as the last fight. I start ground and pounding, and manage to get the finish again. Quite a boring match, but at least it didn't drag. Let's go on to the next one. We finally get a division I'm familiar with, and of course, it has to be against the most op fighter in the game. I definitely cannot stand and trade like I have been, so I get the glove touch and they immediately taunt. Seems familiar. He pull counters my shot and instantly rocks me. You will see this a lot this fight. What I try and do is keep out of range and make them miss so I can counter with my own shots. I do this with variable success. Once again, I am rocked due to a pull counter. I attempt my own pull counter and see they counter it with their own pull counter. This leaves the body wide open. Hopefully I can take advantage of this. Read. I made the correct adjustment, and after he leans back, I unload on the body and get a rock. He shells up, but I don't manage to get a knockdown. I get rocked but manage to avoid any more incoming shots. I land a perfect head kick and he eats it like it was nothing. I'm just out of his range and land a perfect straight, which rocks him. He then leans forward right into my front kick, which gets the knockdown. I jump on him to finish the fight, but he evades and recovers. For the remainder of the round, he tries to get up, but I just keep taking him down, over and over and over. So that's one takedown. And then there's another. Surprisingly, there is another takedown. That's a fourth takedown, and then the round's over. I go for the glove touch, and he goes for a cheap shot. I instantly get my revenge with duck, and then an elbow, which drops them. I almost get the finish via ground and pound, but they barely survive. We grapple for a bit, but eventually they stand up. Round 2 has just started, yet they barely have half of their stamina. They rock me, but then get careless. I slip with an elbow and get another rock. I throw the same straight as before and get another drop, then a front kick, the exact same sequence from last round. I then put them in a highlight with a spinning wheel kick KO, and they quit. Justice was served. Now onto the final fight. I'm yet again using Sandhagen. Throughout the fight, they land this Superman punch over and over. I just didn't see it coming each time. I manage to time a teep and they slip. The pace they are setting is super high. No way this leaves the first round. One combo I love is the body roundhouse to the spinning body kick. It can miss, but it does a lot of damage. What I sometimes do is miss the first kick to bait them into the second strike. They rock me, but I manage to survive. I get my own rock, I keep creating distance to try and bait out the Superman punch, but it never worked. I time a side kick which allows me to clinch and then score a takedown. I'm not liking how the striking is going, so I go for a takedown to mix things up, and I get it. I start controlling him on the ground and go straight to mount. I start ground and pounding, which leads to the finish. Another first round finish, and we end the first day. We end the day off with a record of 5-0, and we go straight to Division 15. I honestly didn't expect today to go so well. Hopefully it keeps going like this, and I get to Division 20. If anyone has any tips to improve, then let me know in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my future UFC 6 content, which will arrive day 1 of the game's release. Thank you for watching.